So once we start recording, we are recording. I was gonna say
Give me
once
one
we
more
start.
moment. One more minute.
Sorry,
Just give me one more moment.
sure. Great. Okay. Let's call this meeting to order. By order of the governor, we're conducting this meeting by Zoom, which is open to the public. This is a meeting of Manhattan Community Board 4's Budget Task Force, where we identify the needs of our district, brought to us by both members of the community and through our various committees. We prioritize those needs in their respective groups, and we will submit this list with explanation to the city and the relative agencies. Previous to this meeting, guys, Jesse sent out our previous statement of district needs for the fiscal year 2023 for edit. Tonight, we will go over what has changed, what has been updated, including project funding for past asks, etc. So we can get right into it, but I would like to start first with, we sent out again, like last year, a survey asking people what was important for our neighborhoods, and what we as a community board representing them should concentrate on. So we had about 230 respondents, and to be honest, the results were similar to last year. Most all the respondents, looking at the demographics, most all the respondents lived in our community board district, and some actually both lived and worked in our district. So it was a pretty good, it was pretty much everyone who is closely involved with our neighborhoods. The top two concerns by far were, probably no surprise, public safety and quality of life. And quality of life includes graffiti, rats, overall state of everyday living, not including trash, but kind of including trash. Trash was a separate category. You can throw that in there, I guess, too, concerning the quality of life. So 1 in 3 people, 34%, cited public safety as the #1 issue in our district, which, like I said, is not surprising considering what we're hearing and what we're discussing over the past year or two. And a lot of the comments called for more beat cops, greater police presence in general, more funding for foot patrol. So 34% cited it as #1, and about 18% listed it as second. So about over half of people thought it was a 1 or 2 priority. This coming in second, again, similar to last year, 26, about a quarter of the respondents cited affordable housing and neighborhood preservation as the greatest issue in our neighborhood. But what's interesting, if you look at the comments, those who cited housing as #1, in their comment section, if they commented, they mentioned either public safety or quality of life in the comment section, which I think is an interesting tell. And then 11% listed it second. So those two were the biggies. And then you get to the third, which is 12% was quality of life. Right below 10% was social services and homelessness. So we have our 2 biggies. Then we have quality of life and homelessness, social services. And then from there, it's a huge drop to like single digits, no more, like 1, 2, 3% of everything else. So that's where we're at with that. I do want to thank Prahasha Gurum, our high school intern, for compiling all the responses and setting up a nice pie chart and data, which was very helpful. So I want to know, I just want to open it up to the committee, comments on the survey, what people think. I think we're going to get it in a, right, Jesse, in a little bit of a better form, and we can send it out.
Yeah, it was a little raw. It was sent to us this morning, so I rather than send confusing information, Leslie sort of cleaned it up a little bit and just gave a summary right now, but we'll obviously get it ready for showtime, by the next meeting at least.
So I would love to know what people think.
So I have a question. So quality of life is third, right?
Right.
What is in quality of life again?
So it's interesting. Rats, graffiti, overall, I don't know if I would, Jesse, would you say overall cleanliness? It wasn't necessarily specifically trash pickup or DSNY. That was its own category. But quality of life was like a catch-all.
Does it include like noise?
Yes.
But it doesn't include safety?
No, public safety was
Safety is the first one.
the very first one. But as you can imagine, Jessica, I mean, kind of what you're asking, I think people, quality of life is how people feel, right? When you walk around, and exactly your quality of life, your overall feeling in the neighborhood. And people cited that. Listen, it was a big drop from the first two. And social services and homelessness was right below it at 10%. But it was, if you want to do 1, 2, 3, that's how it would pan out.
Sorry,
So
it's public safety, housing, was housing 2?
Housing was 2, affordable housing.
2, quality of life 3, homelessness 4.
Correct.
Got it.
Can we conceptually merge quality of life and homelessness or not?
I was thinking actually merging quality of life and trash, because I think, and I'll leave it to you guys what you think, but I think trash pickup is very specific. And that was its own category. And let me see. So trash pickup, people who cited it first, trash removal was about 7%. But if you look at quality of life, that goes to like, it says rats and graffiti, which is the overall, I guess, cleanliness, for lack of a better term, overall living. Dolores?
So my thought is again, the fact that we started doing the survey a few years ago gives us a real good window, not only into what the community is concerned about, but also a great opportunity to look for where there are realistic wins that we can achieve. And I think by lumping them all together, it might be a little bit harder. I think those very specific comments, if we are asking for those very specific things, we do 2 things. We have an opportunity maybe to have it actually be added to that budget, or it may even have an elected official say, that's a quick win, I'll go ahead and put that in my discretionary budget. But also it's demonstrating directly to the community that not only are we hearing them, but we're advocating on behalf of what we're hearing from them. So I'm thinking that we literally take those very specific comments and we look for where that matches something we've advocated for in committee and have a position on. And if we don't, bring that to those committee chairs and ask for them to, bring some presentation to their upcoming committee meeting, have a conversation and get a position on it. That's my thought.
Okay. Hi, Bert. Bert, I'll just fill you in real quick. I just went over we had about 230 people who filled out the survey. And by far, the top one, again, I guess no surprise, is public safety. More beat cops, more cop presence, feeling safe. Second was affordable housing, neighborhood preservation, that type of thing. And then there was a bit of a drop to quality of life. And that's what we're going over, like what exactly quality of life. And then after that, Bert, it was the single digits pretty much for, I'm sorry. Well, right below that was, what I say was right below that. Homelessness. Thank you.
Social
Services. And then there's a big drop to like 1-2% of everything else. So that's what we're talking about now.
I will just throw in there, I mean, we'll get everybody the raw data so they can look at it, but I do think, that we use these categories literally from the statement of district needs. So we did not create these categories. So I would say there's some level of combining that we should do just because, like they break out transportation as one thing and then like public transit as another thing. So, and I do think something like sanitation might directly, I mean, there's an actually connection between rats and sanitation, so I could see them being a connection. But I do agree if there's specific things that maybe we can really highlight and pick out. Let's. I think Dolores's idea is a good one.
Yeah, to Jesse's point, there are 2. One is traffic and street conditions, which is roadway maintenance and the condition of the street, and I guess what it's used for, right? Traffic. And then there's another, what he's explaining is transit, specifically buses and subways. And then those are two separate categories.
Hmm.
So,
But should we discuss the top three? That's one of the major decision we need to make?
so if we go to, and Jesse sent it out, I think you guys have it, right? The, last year, our statement of district needs and community board budget requests for fiscal year 2023.
Yeah.
Which we asked everyone to edit. And thank you for those who did. There is so 1, 2, 3 last year. I'm looking at it right now if everyone has it up. Let me just scroll down.
Leslie, while you're looking at that, for those
Yeah.
of us did not get our homework in on time, what is the date that would be helpful? By Friday, is that okay? Or is that really, you need it sooner than then?
No, that would be fine because I can work on it because I'm going to edit this according to what you guys put in and what we discuss. And I can do it. I can take a day or two after that. Don't worry about it. Do Friday. That's fine. And then I'll work on it hopefully over the weekend or.
Okay, I've just outed myself that I didn't do my homework, but it'll be to you by the end of the week.
Oh, wait, there are two of us at least, Dolores.
Oh, gosh, you're in the
And
same
I
boat.
already outed myself.
I mean, I edited, but I didn't realize.
Okay,
Well,
I'll just
that's
say it.
edited on the page.
Christine and Maria were the only ones that edited it. I'll just say.
Oh,
it
I
right
didn't
now.
I
finish
wrote
it. I mean,
down
I
my-
did the beginning and then I said, I had to stop in the middle, but I'll finish it.
Yeah.
Okay. All
So
right.
last year, the top 3 was affordable housing. Number 1, 2, public safety, and 3 was traffic and air quality. So this year it's looking, somewhat the same. Well, public safety, number 1, affordable housing, number 2, and then I guess garbage, sanitary conditions, quality of life, however you guys suggest we form that as,
I
Number
would call that sanitation / quality of life.
you
Call
would,
it
okay.
Well, at the
environmental
beginning,
conditions.
on the top, it doesn't, because quality of life is so undefined.
Yeah.
If we take it as a major, top of mind kind of thing, we need to put something which is more clear, no?
Yeah, well, again, I want to be clear, like, I don't necessarily have too much flexibility. I would have to look at that. I mean, I have to double check and see if we can put in exactly what we want. I'm picking from this drop down menu.
Right.
I'm picking from a drop down menu. So I
But
don't
even
have-
from the top 3, you are picking from the drop down?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
and
I
I'll
don't know. Quality of life doesn't seem like a convincing, category.
It's essentially meaningless.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it doesn't translate. And so we need to pick something, it's clear that transportation is not, but what is? And I think sanitation is one clear one that we could relate to. And Eric is working on sanitation all the time. And he's on that committee. So that would be perfect, I mean, from politically as well as, where is the money? I think having sanitation there would be a better caption.
I mean, when you look at the comments, so when people say quality of life, there is a comment section, right? You can list it and then you can put your comments. So if you look at the comments under the people who put quality of life, they say, take care of homeless, right? Like, so maybe that should have been. Jesse, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just want to say, everyone go back. Just remember, I mean, the top 3 things are still the board's decision. I mean, this is a data set, for sure. But I just, you guys, another.
Right, we're not married to this.
It is all of the committee's work. So I just don't want to, I guess I would just lean on, the work the committees are all doing too, and the board is doing to say, listen, maybe like you're saying, like maybe people are allowed to say quality of life, but what they're really saying in the comments is one thing. But we also know that, that there are significant projects in our district that are going to need support that are related to, the coming and going of people. And so like, we've got significant projects happening. And so I just would say, I just want to make sure we just include all of the data sets, which is including all of your guys' hard work that you do every month at the committee.
Yeah, I mean, we're not married. We're not married by any means to, to put exactly what the survey said and regurgitate it onto our, but.
So I like Christine's point about the fact that you politically align and you also clearly define something like sanitation. But to Jesse's point, I think the common thread for the last few years has been around the perceived safety. And many of those do point to, if we had additional social services for all of the facilities that continue to come into this community, that really needs to be front and center, because that speaks directly to the heart of the sense of people having this feeling that they don't feel safe here, right? And then headlines don't help. So if our advocacy is based in this survey, which is clearly saying this is what people are concerned about, and those high priorities we had in the social services area, it aligns. It has a relationship to quality of life. Because ultimately, we have a better quality of life when people feel safe on their streets. But it does. I don't know that we have to put it in the quality of life bucket. We can still state very clearly, social services will have an impact on our quality of life if we make sure to put it in the budget. So I'm just trying to connect those strings, because I think that if we end up putting sanitation as our primary thing, it's like the whole ad campaign about there's no poop fairy. Okay, that's a nice little tagline and it's nice and all, but it doesn't speak to the real concern that we continue to hear across parts of the community, that it doesn't feel safe.
And so I agree, Dolores. I mean, my instinct would say that homelessness is, kind of our number 3. And because, and considering all the additional homeless people which are coming to the neighborhood, I mean, clearly homelessness participates into the quality of life and the sense of public safety, although it's not directly linked.
Right.
And I think this is something which is really big in the city and needs to be fixed. And we have a big chunk of that. And so it's all coming to us. And to me, homelessness, is really something that the city needs to fix, in my mind, which is linked to the social services, which is linked to, the safety, the perception of quality of life. It's like this is one of the issues which is behind all of that.
Absolutely, they're all linked, and I think that if our narrative shows that we are not tone deaf and we're only, defining quality of life from, let's say, just a trash point of view, I think that we respond really well to all of those connected concerns. And I think, again, Leslie, I didn't do my homework, but that's part of, I think, all of our job is to get that narrative, because even Christine, transportation concerns, there are triggers that we have that contribute to a positive quality of life, and we get transportation concerns correct too. Again, I think that
that's what I was raising the noise, having gridlock everywhere generate noise, and people are nuts about it right now. I mean, in some part of the district, not everywhere. But I think I would be in favor of putting homelessness as a, is that the category, Jesse? Homelessness?
No, it's a social service category. I mean, it's the broader social service category.
So that would be, in my mind, that would be.
Well, it was a close number 3. So, I mean,
that would be my number 3, really, because we've got to get to the bottom of this. I mean, we can't function like that.
Hey, everyone. Maria here.
Maria.
I apologize. I am late. Can I just have, you guys are talking about the survey?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what were the top 3 things from the survey?
Number one, by far, I would say, would be public safety.
Yeah, I figured.
Number 2 was affordable housing,
Okay.
neighborhood preservation. I guess that's the, right, Jesse? That's included in the title. And 3rd was quality of life. And then a close 4th was social services and homelessness.
Okay. And homelessness.
And then there's from there, there's a deep drop off.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you.
And Maria, we were discussing the fact that quality of life sometimes really doesn't mean anything. We have to be more specific about what people are really talking about.
That's a good point.
Rather than just use the phrase.
That's a good point, because in my mind, when I heard quality of life, I was already making assumptions about what that meant. So that's a good point.
Jessica?
Yeah, just to flesh that out a little bit more, I think the combination of looking at the comments from the survey as well as our own, what we're hearing at our committees, particularly wanting to not confuse some of the issues. Well, there's a lot of, it's a Venn diagram, so there's a lot of overlap, but there are also a lot of really distinct interventions that might be related to public safety that are not necessarily what we would recommend to address issues of homelessness that might impact quality of life. And so I just think we need to be really, there's a lot of nuance there. And again, whether it's looking at what some of the comments are saying or just being extra thoughtful, I just think we have to be really careful that we're not, calling for maybe, more police to deal with a homelessness crisis, when really what we're talking about is more supportive services to help those who are on the street find suitable housing. And I think it can get really easy to just make that language, make assumptions, as we were saying. And I don't think that's what we're hearing in our committees or what we would historically want to do. So
we did, if you look at our expenses for last year, our top 3, 2 of our top 3 were more NYPD.
And I remember it was super fraught, right? There was a lot of discussion about what NYPD was being asked to do. And I actually don't have those asks right in front of me, but
I think we can go over, we can discuss this a little more, and then we can go over so we can get through the capital list at least. But yeah, you're right. But I think it was, so number 1, just if we jump to expense real quick, was expand street outreach for homelessness. And I think that was the narrative, Jessica, that you're you're kind of touching on. We made sure that was number 1. Number 2, then separately, was expand NYPD staff resources. And we were very specific about, the district recovery initiatives, or at least the Midtown Business Discovery District recovery initiatives, beat cops, crime prevention programs, including the police, neighborhood outreach, including the police. So we did separate them in expenses. So I think it kind of looks like, sorry, I just froze for a minute. I apologize. I think it looks like a little bit of the same narrative this year with that, unless there was a drastic change that I'm overlooking that you guys want to point out. But if you want to, I guess we can why don't we jump to capital right now so we can kind of get through this, because we do have a hard out. And I think once we do that, it will help the narrative. Just keep in mind, obviously, as you guys know, the committees haven't come in yet with their changes or their new asks, but we can go over the old and at least see what was accomplished.
Yeah.
And move from there. Yes, sorry, Alan, go ahead.
Where did was there any lines for education? Was there anything referred to in terms of my child's school education, anything at all?
Are you talking about in the
survey?
Let me see, hold on, let me get the survey.
Yeah, the first one was a Wi-Fi expansion.
I think in the survey, Christine, he's saying,
I'm
like,
talking
Oh,
about
I'm
the
sorry.
survey.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Schools, it's, so the category is schools and youth and children's services. Now, zero, not one person put that as a number one priority. So obviously, you know, I don't know if that's indicative of what our community needs. So that would be a good example.
Well, it's a
but
sad
there.
comment.
I'm sorry.
It's a sad comment that came in at zero, but did the survey ask, like, you know, a certain age group? Did we ask anything about the respondents at all?
Like the demographic, break down the demographics.
No, we did not.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
We try to make it as simple as possible just to get like the
Yeah, no, you want to get
Must be.
responses, but you know, I don't know. It's like
I mean, I think to what
depends on
Dolores
who
was
they're
saying
getting
before,
his responses from in terms of what people feel is important to them and what they perceive to themselves to be important to themselves and their community. So it's maybe next year we can get, you know, something a little bit more hard hitting in terms of who's responding to us. You know, it could be, you know, a group that's really not interested in certain areas, but you know, I don't, you know, I'm just really disappointed in
but you know what, Alan, to that point, it was only 230, like, you know, it's 230 people in a district of tens of thousands, right? And yeah, I mean, it's a small amount. I think everyone feels public, no matter what your demographic is. I think we're hearing on the community board, public safety would be a concern, right? No matter if you're a parent, if you're a single young person, if you're an older
no,
dog walker or whatever.
Yeah.
But like to that point, if you look, and traffic and transit is like 1%. And we know that's, you know, obviously, you know, we have fought and advocated for
But
that.
I think the problems we have currently are completely overwhelming everybody.
Yes.
And you know, the public safety, and we don't have enough affordable housing, we have too many homeless, and at this point people are, you know, their brain are saturated. If you ask them what your concerns are, this is it. And it doesn't mean that they are not concerned about the rest, but this is overwhelming, top of mind.
Right.
And it's
No,
so big
that's
and so
understandable.
overwhelming that they can't even think about anything else. And
Right.
we have to accept that. That's the way it is.
Was-
And
We
then
had
when the
included
press,
last year we had included as one of our priorities in the narrative, more schools, elementary and middle schools. We included that. Regardless of
we'll put
the
it
kind
in.
of survey we did.
We'll put it in. It's just a matter of what's people
just a
are.
quick-
You know,
was-
people are reacting to the press. If you have the press every day telling
Sure,
you there is
absolutely.
a crash,
Yeah.
I mean, they are much
Right.
more powerful than we are.
Right. It's, you know, everything's driven by what people read and hear every
Right.
day on the radio, or
Right.
whatever, or what they read online. And the fact that, you know, there's a statement that comes out about kids falling behind over the last 2 years. It gets mentioned and dropped, and then there's another
Right.
release that kids aren't functioning, who are graduating,
not
aren't
exciting
functioning in
enough
college. So
for the
it
press.
just depends on what's happening in the world around us, and also.
Listen, I think the survey will be
we-
reflected in our district needs, but we
Yeah.
have a much broader vision, right?
Right.
And
Do
we'll be
do you have a breakdown in terms of zip codes between, I'm just curious, Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen, about who, something like that?
No.
All right, okay.
So does everyone have open the statement of district needs that we did from last
I
year?
thought you wanted to do capital requests.
Yeah,
Right.
which one should I have open?
You are
Sorry,
going to do the
same
same
thing.
thing.
It's
I
the
think
same.
it'd be easier if you do but I think it'd be easier if you do the Excel spreadsheet.
Right.
Oh, I don't even
Excel
think.
expense.
It was in the folder,
It's in the
Yeah.
folder.
Okay.
and
I mean,
that's
I
the
think it'd be
capital
easier to
request.
read it than the because the statement of district needs does not have the agency responses. Not that they give
Yeah.
us much enlightenment anyway, but
Right. I'm
Um,
looking at, okay.
Jesse, are you able, I cannot open that folder.
I can share it.
Oh, okay.
You can't open it in the Dropbox, Maria?
I am having some technical
Trouble,
difficulties
okay.
where I am.
Let me see if I open up, but I can share my screen here. Let me know if you guys see this. Do you guys see this Excel spreadsheet now?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Yes,
Beautiful.
excellent, Jesse. Thank you.
thank you.
Jesse,
Very
thank you
good.
so much.
Very, very good to share it like that.
Okay.
Okay, we ready, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first, which is, this is interesting. This has been our first request for a while, right, Maria, the Harbor View? And then
Yes, and
finally, this past year, they came back to us and said the agency will accommodate this issue with existing resources, which led us to believe that it was going to somewhat mimic what's going on in Chelsea, NYCHA, right? That they were going to start doing a whole RFP process. And I know when Jesse followed up, it was a little bit, it wasn't as cut and dry.
well, I
Well,
see, well, Jesse, I did open the responses to the questions.
Mhm.
And the question was, we would like to know when this will be accommodated, if I'm reading the right one. This is request number 1, Harborview Terrace RFP and development.
Mhm.
And will it be through the current RFP? And what I see here is we received a response from NYCHA that this project has been put on hold.
So, right, so I emailed to be clear, we're making this request of HPD. So it sounds like what HPD is saying to us is, oh, we'll accommodate this project. We have no problem accommodating this project. But NYCHA, because it's NYCHA property and NYCHA land, they're putting this project on hold. And so, in my opinion, I think we should keep this because it's affordable housing and it's the number 2. It's always been the number 1 or 2 priority of the board and the district. But I think maybe we need to shift the pressure from HPD to NYCHA.
Okay. I would agree with you on that.
Because they'll keep on saying HPD will just pass the buck.
Yeah.
Say, oh, we'll be happy to do this.
Mhm.
When NYCHA tells them to do it.
Go ahead.
So maybe keeping it as number 1 and putting the agency that we're requesting it from NYCHA is what you're saying, Jesse.
Yes,
I'm
that's
agreeing with.
what my recommendation would be. I mean, I
Mhm.
think this is, a huge project that,
Agreed. Is it
RFP
settled?
went out and RFP has been responded to. So there's companies waiting to hear about this. So.
Okay.
Okay, so does everyone agree with that? Keeping that number 1 still and just kind of adding the
Oh,
agency?
I don't know that we should discuss the items, but
Yeah, but-
the numbering, maybe we should revisit until we have our top 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Because once we have our top 3 and if we start with housing, when we are saying it's public safety, it's a little odd, is it?
Touche.
Well, public safety, Christine, I remember this
It's
discussion from
expense,
last
right? It's
year.
more
Yeah,
expense.
yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of it is
yeah.
expense.
Yeah, I'm not opposed. I'm just saying we need to go back to our.
I think we shouldn't worry. I mean, because we're going to come back to this later. We're going to have to go through this when we get all of the committees and prioritize them. I think we don't worry about so much. I think Christine's right though. Let's not worry about so much the priority number yet. Let's just say this is still important and is it
Still in
accurate?
play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's still in play or not.
And is
right?
it an accurate? Are we doing making the accurate request?
Okay. Number 2,
Yes, it's still in play. They didn't do anything.
it says it will be accommodated.
Right.
Mhm.
And it was not.
All right. Number 3, which is, it's still in play, right?
It's
The further
due,
study.
right.
We will, let's see, if you go down, Jesse, I have
Yeah, I can't see if you don't. do that.
number 4 is,
Oops, sorry, hold
the
on.
elevators at Harborview.
For 3.
And
Is it oh, there was not.
if you
they didn't have
notice,
funding.
well, so in their official response, Jesse, I have, it says, is my outdated? It says, in order to fund this initiative, contact local elected officials for appropriation
Um,
in their official response back.
I don't know. You might be looking at the preliminary. Preliminary usually, so what usually happens is the preliminary response is the agency response without the kind of polish of the city hall looking at
Right,
it.
right.
And that usually gives us somewhat of a little more in-depth answer. And then the final is both the agency response with OMB's review of it. And so that's when it sort of gets a little polished. So, I can certainly follow up on number 4 to see if, where they are, but it sounds like it's pretty much, nowhere unless it's
Not
on
funded.
capital plan. Yeah, I mean, it's on an out year capital plan.
I'd just like to say one thing, going back to number 3. Of course, their response was it needs further study. And that was maybe a year ago, right? Or 18 months ago. But there are other cities now that have implemented cruise ship controls on the idling. So they don't have to study it anymore. All they got to do is send somebody to Miami and see what Miami is doing.
Bert, you took the words right out of my mouth. We had a meeting with them, right? And they said, oh, it's going to take a year and a half to study. And we said the exact same thing, but Miami just did it in less than a year. They just switched over very quickly. What's the study? I think it's just double speak for, we're not really doing it, but yes.
They sent the guy to Miami and he stayed down there. So we don't have to study. This is ridiculous, but that's the way it is.
I just want to make sure we're all
We can
aware.
follow up with EDC on that for sure.
Yeah. If you,
Sorry, I'm moving back down to 4.
that's okay.
4 or 5, right?
I'm wondering, hold on one second. I'm wondering whether we should assign that request to DEP, because DEP has now a brand new executive, which is very interested in, pollution. And that may be a better place to go, at least to ask the question and then see what he does with it. Because he has major objective as far as reducing pollution and improving air quality. That's his job. And he used to be the guy who created, the plan 2030. So I think it's a better angle.
You mean changing the agency to
Yeah.
DEP?
Yeah. Because at least he can go and turn to DEP and say, what are you doing? What are you doing about it? He can turn to them. So anyway, that's my thought.
Jesse, can we, I mean, we can't send to 2 agencies, can we? Or we can CC to two agencies, right? Or,
I mean, there is a section now that allows you to kind of like create your own thing, so we certainly can do it. I think we can do it. But we're going to get one agency response. And I'll be honest with you, I think DEP is going to defer to EDC. I think the idea of following up with EDC and saying, formally from a committee level, maybe WPE, saying like, EDC, where are you with this? And copying it, sending it, addressing it both to EDC and DEP and saying, this is a major impact, major environmental impact in our district. And, DEP's, mandate and new executive, sort of like, put them on notice, but while also following up and saying what is going on with the study, or applying for the study. I mean, when we had that meeting, they were just applying for the study.
it was, yeah, please. It was such double.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay, we can definitely go back to committee on that one too, and just reinforce it. What are we up to here? So Alan, number 5 was expand funding for reliable high-speed Wi-Fi within the schools.
So this is the problem I have with this and practically every tech request that we've ever made, going back several years. Not one of them has ever been, okay, we have to study. Well, there's 3 answers. We have to study, we don't have funding, and go talk to your electeds. So we can certainly go talk to our electeds, but we have to do that. The committee would have to do that sooner in the year, like in the springtime, when the borough president and the council member are out there reaching out to the schools for their requests. So the funding has come for these issues. The funding has come basically from our electeds. So my personal opinion, I have to bring this up to the committee, is I don't even know why we're asking them for these tech requests, because they're not just, DOE is just not doing it. So when they say community board should contact the responsible agency regarding the request, they don't tell you who the responsible agency is. So, I mean, I would be curious to know.
Well, it's probably the Department of Technology, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we found when we had that conversation with SCA.
Right.
Right,
It's actually right.
right.
So I mean, I
Right,
think,
So maybe we have to add a new agency into here and then maybe, just switch a lot of this stuff over from DOE and see what kind of response we get from that agency. I don't see the point.
Wouldn't
really
be,
of asking-
and Alan, wouldn't that be helpful to also identify 1 or 2 or 3 schools instead
Well,
of
it's not that
saying
you're
all the
100%
schools?
right. That's what generally the response is. Please be more specific
Right.
regarding what school. That's absolutely. So we
but
do
you-
have that. We do get that. Over the course of the last, I don't know, 5 years that I've looked at these statements, we've, PS this, high school this, middle school that. They've all asked for smart boards and everything else and upgrades to their infrastructure. And it just always comes back one of those 3 responses. So maybe we need to add another agency into the list here and go after another agency.
Can I think going.
Otherwise, we can leave it here and just, get the same response next
Oh,
year.
no. Can I say, I think changing the agency is smart, Alan. We learned that today. We learned that in that meeting, with SCA. I think we move it to do it. And I think that you guys made a conscious choice to word it this way, because what you were getting into was what you were saying before, is that you guys were making these individual school requests for, 10 computer carts here, smart boards there, whatever. But then the infrastructure of the actual school, the Wi-Fi, which is what connects all of these things together, wasn't there. And so that's, I think you guys made a conscious choice to say, we're not going to just, we're going to say across the board. You did this with a couple different education requests across the board about asking for this. So I still think it's a value, but I just think I do agree with you changing the agency, since we know it, they're just going to come back with the same response
Right.
if we change the agency.
Okay, so maybe we should give that a try. We can go over that separately, I think, instead of here. All right.
Sure. So number 6, Christine, do you have any insight? It says this
So they
request.
have done a whole bunch of things, but it's not finished. So I'm going to modify the text to reflect what is not done.
Okay, great. Number 7.
Hold on a
Uh,
second.
Sure. Again, it says this request will be accommodated in part. Maria, do you have any insight on?
Wasn't there some movement on the Sarah? I thought there was.
Well, this was one of the questions we asked them, and
Yep.
HPD responded. Basically, I don't have it open. I don't know if anybody else, if you or Maria, Leslie, have it open.
Yep, I can get it.
Too many screens open at the same time.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm trying to.
I'm overwhelmed with screens.
Yeah, but if short and sweet of it, memory serves, their answer was basically that the answer they gave us was implying that yes, there's this program has been funded citywide, and so therefore the accommodated will in part, meaning is that multiple parts of this multiple sites have been funded through this program, but doesn't necessarily mean our site.
Except ours.
Yeah. I mean, these are buildings we certainly can follow up with because they're Clinton housing. So we could, confirm what the statuses of them are with, but it sounds like they don't.
I think those two
They actually were
addresses,
like, they knew that these specific projects were being funded, they would have said, yes, they're being
Right.
funded, you know, but.
Yeah.
okay.
So do we keep this? Do we just wait for more we have to
I'll
wait for
follow
more clarification, right?
I'll follow up on Clinton Housing side and if need be, follow up with HPD again, but I really
Okay.
don't like HPD anymore.
Mhm.
Okay, let's keep going then.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, that's good. I mean,
Wait,
number 8, the garbage collection.
we finished number 7?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Maria, do you have? Yeah, go ahead, Maria.
I believe, because I'm trying to do multiple screens over here. It says, yes, the MPLP and the SARA program. All right, and I see that, Jesse, we got a response, and it says we would like to know if what portion of this project receives funding and what is outstanding and the reason. Funding is allocated citywide. HPD will continue to provide funding for MPLP and SARA.
Insightful answer.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like it has, even though I believe there.
But I guess Joe would know whether he got the funding or
Yeah.
not. Right?
I'll follow up with Joe and.
Right. That seems to be the simplest because we are asking about 3 specific
Oh,
locations.
yes, that's right. I skipped that part. Thank you, Christine.
That line has been here for the last 13 years. Maybe this year will be our lucky year.
Yeah,
So this, oh, no, this is the Better Bid program. Never mind, go on.
yeah. This I believe is moving ahead from what I see on the sheets. That they receive funding from the city.
Yeah,
If that's in the procurement stage.
yeah, there is progress on this,
in
so.
progress. So do we keep this on the line or do we move this to a continuing service and open up the line?
I would keep it on the line.
Keep it on
I
the
would
line. Okay.
I would suggest to keep it too.
Okay.
It's such a big deal, and
Mhm.
but what do you guys think?
We can update the language and then we
Yeah.
make that decision. I
Right.
think it's gonna drop when you guys meet again on the 25th. Because you're gonna have to put in a bunch of social service stuff,
Yeah.
a bunch
Yeah.
of housing stuff. I think but that's a decision you'll come to on when you're going through all of it, so.
Thank
But
you.
now, in terms of, we're talking about number 8 right now.
Yes.
7,
So-
8.
8.
Sorry.
In it, there's much more important things. Well, not more important. Yes, additional baskets on the street is important, but there's a larger conceptual looking at sanitation and its physical needs. There's that new study that was just announced a couple of days ago
Right.
by McKinsey for what Eric has been talking about for a while. Other people have been talking about, bins, large bins, unobtrusive bins, so that you don't have bags and bags and bags and bags of residential garbage piling up. This is important in addition to the litter baskets. And, we don't want the litter baskets the way they are. We want different kinds of baskets. That
So, but
don't leak
Bert,
garbage.
this number 8 is all about baskets. The Better Bin program is a variation on the
That's what
basket.
I'm saying. It should be expanded. It should not be just about baskets. It should be.
Yeah, but I mean, the expansion is already funded, and this is for our neighborhood. So we're doing the budget for our neighborhood, not as a strategic plan. I agree with you, but they've already given the 5 million to do the study. It's done.
For the study, but not for the actual
No, but they need to
buying
do
of the
the study.
bins and
They need to do the study first, right?
allegedly, yes.
Yeah.
What are you, a nighttime host now? Allegedly.
And
I
also,
don't-
Bert, I like a big thing I know right during COVID is they slash DSNY budget by a lot, right? That's
Yes.
why we kept seeing,
Mm, yeah.
the baskets that were getting picked up twice a day are now once a week. And everything is overflowing and there's trash all over the street. But we do address that in expense because we
Right.
ask over and over for more DSNY pickup, please just come out and pick up the
We should
trash.
also
At the
maybe-
end of June of 21, it was the number of sanitation workers was at lowest point in almost 25 years.
Wow.
Right, but it's in expense. Leslie is right.
That's expense, yes, because
It's an expense, but
But that's the
Training.
overarching like you're talking about, I think.
But we could say that we would want the better bins to replace all our baskets because the better bin take over a lot more in one shot. So rather than having those flimsy baskets at the corners, we could have the better bins installed at every corner. So I don't know, this is up to sanitation to decide that. I mean, the ACE committee to discuss that.
Well, I know on WPE, we actually had a letter and talked about adding recycling bins to I know that's not the better bin, but it's,
Right.
it's parallel to putting.
I mean,
these-
as far as the overflow goes, if you had a better bin, you would have much less overflow. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the request.
Or if they just came and picked up the trash like they used to.
I know, but I mean, one helping the other, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's you guys want to change the language just a little bit.
Yeah, I think we need to modify the language no matter what, because the project has moved forward. And
Right.
so that's good. And if we want to add something more into it, we can, but I do still think it's a pilot project. So, we can say we want it for everybody, but I mean, for everywhere in our district, but, we all know that, how they work. So it's a study.
Or we can identify corners where it's appropriate, right?
That's a good idea. That's
Yeah.
not bad.
We
Yeah,
could
that's a good idea.
say, we want you to include those corners in the pilot because blah, blah, blah.
All right, we're at 6:00. I just want to let it.
Yep. Let's go to number 9, which is a DeWitt Clinton Park renovate. We still,
Isn't it done?
Yeah, I thought we
I thought we cut the ribbon.
cut the
no,
ribbon.
that was for the stairs.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, stairs.
That was just for the stairs. I think this is just a whole redo
Okay.
of an old park.
And they say you are not getting it.
But-
Okay.
Right. So that, number 10.
They are making headway on this. There have been a couple of schools that are in construction or are about to be in construction, so they have been. So I think also this probably needs to be rewritten a little bit, maybe to indicate certain schools that we want this to happen to.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, we should modify that so we can
Yeah.
highlight we also can say there's some wins there, right? I mean, there's some definitely.
The wins.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, number 11
Yeah. Still there.
stays. Okay, number 12.
Number 12
Sorry.
stays. And we did get a,
Well, I thought I thought this was accommodated. Or no?
what does it say there? Okay. It says this request will be accommodated in part. The response that I have is the program is awaiting an updated proposal for this site, which incorporates previous HPD feedback. Upon receipt, HPD will work with the sponsor to determine if there's a viable path forward for HPD financing, and if so, to secure funding approval and other due diligence items necessary to close on financing.
Now I know why it took them four weeks to get me back that answer. That is a well statement to making no promises whatsoever.
Yes, that was wordy and long and
So the
Um,
budget money went to paying the lawyers to go ahead and craft that very carefully.
oh,
And so that's why we're not getting anything done.
Yeah. Sounds.
so it says in part, but I don't know, what I read doesn't sound like that, so.
So
It's
you want to
certainly-
keep it, right? You want to
Yeah.
keep it?
Yeah,
Okay.
you want to keep it.
Next.
Sorry,
Okay,
hold on.
That's okay.
But we jumped down from 12 to 17.
Where are we?
Wait,
Hold on.
18.
A second. There we go. Okay.
Oh,
what do you have? We're on number 13, right?
Number
Am I-
13, Harborview Terrace Capital.
cannot be funded at this time.
Yeah, I mean, so this to me is all connected to the project because
Yes.
the reason the project isn't going, the reason the affordable housing building isn't going forward by NYCHA is because NYCHA wants the affordable housing building to subsidize all of the capital needs that the current Harborview project has. So, you know, that's what's frustrating about this, right? So, I mean, we have, I mean, we should.
I'm not reading.
normally-
I'm not reading that. Maybe I don't know, but I'm not reading it this way. I think we were asking to do repairs, right? We were not asking here to do a project, right?
No, what I'm trying to say is it goes back to capital or priority number one.
Okay.
Priority number one is the Harborview project affordable housing to
Got
build an entirely new affordable housing development on the Harborview Terrace, right? And what happened was NYCHA sent out the RFP. We were all, again, very kind of happy and had best expectations. And then NYCHA decided to say, well, now this project has to subsidize the 40 million, they calculated as $40 million of capital needs for the existing Harborview. All of these things listed here, roof repair, boiler upgrade, new building entrances, all of that was going to need to be paid for by the new development. So therefore, then the new development went from 100% affordable housing to 70% market, 30% affordable. And that's when the community was like, no. And then that's ever since then, it's been stuck. So, I mean, I think we have to, I will say we have to circle back with Maria, not Maria Ortiz, but Maria from the Harborview Terrace, who usually gives us the list of things that the TA, you know, is asking for capital wise. I have not done so yet, so I can certainly do that, or Maria can talk to Maria, whichever one.
I can follow up with Maria.
Okay, so we
I
can
forgot
modify
her last name, but
you know.
Okay, great. So that'll be a follow-up. Number 14.
Okay, so this is the crazy world of DOE again. On a meeting with SCA, the issue about cameras, we were told that the priority is in high schools. On a follow-up email from SCA, they indicated that security cameras are in the design phase for PS33 and the pre-scope for PS111. So here we have, this request is not recommended for funding, unable to prioritize. So, you know, and it goes back to something, you know, Leslie mentioned, I think at exec, is that DOE, you can't get a straight answer. And I mean, look at all the answers we've been getting from all these other things, but there's like such a disconnect with the different parts of this agency that, you know, you often just have to, you know, I don't know, just keep digging at and reaching out to different people all the time to get the right answer for a particular issue. Instead of you call up a supervisor or Christine calls up the assistant director, you know, contact person for, you know, some aspect. So it's a crazy world, but they're making some headway on the cameras. That's all I want.
Okay. So that's good. So we'll modify this, right? Where we know that PS111 and PS33 are in the works. We can keep the other ones if we want, but then those are wins. I mean, that's progress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great. Number 15, the ferry, which has been in the news a lot as well.
Has been in the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Ferry service, you know, the cost of the ferry service.
Oh, yes. That's you're saying.
Not this particular ferry line.
No.
Just leave it there. Jeffrey
General
loves
ferry service.
Let Jeffrey talk. Yeah, Jeffrey can talk.
Jeffrey loves this line.
Yeah. Number 16.
He hasn't mentioned ferries in a long time.
So this is number 16. So I think we can, I don't know if we could take it off. So this is going to be part of a bigger Penn South playground redo. There was a big, I mean, the money is supposedly already allocated. We're going to go through the design phase of it in the next month, or the design, I should say, discussion phase of it within the next month or so. There was a big press conference about it with Eric and everyone else. So I don't know if this has to be necessarily a budget request anymore. I think this is a win.
I think it's been too.
You know, and
And
then we
it's
just,
continuing support until it actually happens, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
great,
It just moves to that third category.
great. Okay, number 17, the dog run at DeWitt Clinton.
So
Still needs to be there. Has not been yet. Let's see, number 18. Alan, the roof at Manhattan Bridges.
Hmm.
Why does this need further study?
Yeah, status unknown from, we got a response back from the principal. The status of this is unknown.
Asked for something else, right? Didn't they? Because they gave us that they had I thought they had a separate, a different funding request that was being unfunded. Was not being funded.
Well, Manhattan Bridges, when we got back was the auditorium was being funded
Yeah.
and they wanted to replace the gym floor.
So what
So,
about the leaking roof? Isn't it
so
more
the leaking
important?
roof is a priority, but no one seems to know where this is. We've reached back out to SCA on this, so maybe during the week we can hear back to check on the status of this particular project.
Yeah, but I mean, it seemed like the principal seemed to think that this was not. I mean, if they would want us to advocate for something, it was like you said, it was the auditorium, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys will have to decide at committee, but okay,
All right.
all right.
Okay, number 19, let's move on. Number 19, this stays, we still don't have bathrooms at these parks, or at least the renovation of the bathroom. Number 20.
20, we're going to change the text because some of it is done.
Oh,
And
good.
some of it will be a win, you know,
Oh, good. Okay, partial win.
partial win.
21. So this is Alan with the ADA accessible for 111.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
This is not in his priority list.
No.
Right. So this might be taken off altogether for something else, right? I mean, listen, guys, I was going to talk about this at the beginning when we were talking about social services and homelessness. I mean, I think a big part of our overarching theme in that category is going to be migrant, right? The migrants that have moved into our neighborhood, and specifically the special needs and the overwhelming, I guess, stress on the schools specifically. And their names.
Aren't those expense? Those are going to be
Yeah.
expense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm talking about the narrative, like when we talk about, like, you know, when we explain homelessness, and then that will be injected, I guess, in our explanation of why we need a little bit more attention in that area. So, okay, let's move
All right,
on.
well, leave it.
22. This has not been funded, I don't believe.
They're not going to fund any of that until they have a lawsuit.
No,
Yeah,
but
Because people will
doing
trip on
sidewalk-
it and they will have a lawsuit, right?
Where are they doing sidewalk work on the
Wait.
park, Leslie?
Down at Clement,
So Clement, CC Moore.
isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, no, this is the, are we on 22?
Yeah.
We are.
It's terrible. I've walked my barber.
That's not the question. The question
My
is,
barber is on the other side of 10th Ave, other side of 9th Avenue. I've walked past this school in the rain, and you can be swimming on that sidewalk. When I take the bus up on 10th Avenue, you get up at
so
49th.
Alan, what you need to do is trip on the thing and then,
Yes.
you know,
Okay, but I'm gonna need a good lawyer because I'm up against DOE and SCA. here,
Right,
Right.
that's the only way to go.
It's the only way to go. Right. Same thing with the heliport.
22. this is the same thing, McCaffrey. I know they were doing some painting, but I think it was very superficial improvements or temporary. So, I mean, we're gonna have, WPE is gonna have a talk with Steve tomorrow, so we'll talk about all this stuff as well. 24.
24, this is.
Jesse, can you, yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, no.
24, this is probably the third year we've asked for this. I don't think they're looking to do elevators in here, but we can keep it.
Keep it for now?
Yeah.
Okay,
And we'll get on SC. Just to say this about DOE SCA, I think we've gotten a little bit better communication going with SCA with some of the people that are in charge of it now than were previously. So I just want to say that.
oh, good. So now, Ellen, still you on 25, when we're talking about the security alarm at the doors at PS 11.
Yeah, nothing on that for whatever,
So we
it's
keep,
it's all part of this, security prioritizing for the high schools, and I guess it's just piece by piece they try to get, maybe the principal putting pressure on somebody, pushes this to their advantage, but.
and then the same thing, 26 with the HVAC system, business of sports high.
Yeah, same thing. But
Okay,
nothing on that from anybody.
okay. So this is tree pits for 27. So I mean, this is interesting. It says the request cannot be funded at this time. I mean, there's a lot of things, there's so many different programs. They're saying that there's a million tree program going, there's an Eric Botcher tree program.
No, what it
going.
is,
It's so,
Leslie, is that the tree pits in the other boroughs, the tree pits, whenever they install a tree, they put a tree guard around the tree pits. Business as usual. But in Manhattan, they don't. Which is, I mean, you should ask them. It makes no sense. Why are they doing it in the other districts, in the other boroughs, and not in Manhattan?
I thought they were putting them in with new trees, but they were not putting them in with existing trees. And that
Yes, true.
yeah.
True,
Yeah,
but I mean, but they have always done that. So existing tree already have that in the other districts.
Yeah,
in the
no,
other
probably
boroughs.
Christine, with so much more development in Manhattan, there's been a precedent of developers covering that, et cetera. So
Yeah,
it's just another case where the private sector has done so much that the public sector doesn't add it into their budget.
Mm.
So I think it's good to raise it, that in terms of
I
equity.
don't expect anything to happen. Yeah.
But I think you raise a good point of the fact that it is already budgeted within the scope of designing streets with more trees included.
There was an article today or 2 days ago saying the Department of Parks, it cost them $3,500 to plant a tree. $3,500.
They should pay us. We'll plant the
Did
whole
you
bunch.
also see the recent article that the only way to get a tree timely
Yes.
is to give $1,800?
Yeah, well, the
to
only
donate,
way
right, Jessica, to
give-
donate to there, it's crazy.
Yeah, to give $1,800 to a donation, right? But they said when DPR does it by themselves, it's $3,500. I cannot fathom how it's
Cool.
$3,500 to do a tree.
Well, it's probably just factoring in the benefits, the hourly costs, the permits, the payoff to the landlord. No, sorry, I didn't say that. All those things.
Right. Anyway.
Anyway,
All right,
More
we got
lawyers.
three
All right,
more-
we'll look into that. 28, I'm sure Jesse loves 28.
28 to working on.
The November branch.
28 to win.
Yeah,
Muhlenberg.
No. We, my
Muhlenberg.
opinion, it's been funded. It's
Wait a
funded.
minute. We have done the roof. We have done the air conditioning. We have done the stairs. We have done, I don't understand. There is always something else.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it says this funding. This is
no,
already.
this is it. It's a win. It's done.
We should take them
Okay.
at their word.
Yeah,
because
this is
I
a-
don't hear
this is
anything
done.
more about it.
All right.
The library is closed.
the reconstruction.
Are we talking about Muhlenberg?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the library's closed. They're working in there.
Yeah, it's done.
Exactly.
It's a win.
Oh, good, okay.
Oh, yeah.
29. So
29.
this is the sanitation,
Oh, the sanitation trucks.
the trucks itself, yeah. To go with the phantom extra sanitation people, which is coming up in expense.
Well, I mean, this one, should we should ask for two things. When they are going to do the study, they are going to come back and say, you need trucks which can take, containers, right? And then we want also electric trucks. So I don't know that we want them to buy new trucks right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is about electric trucks, to be clear. Like, this isn't really about, oh, they need more trucks to bring the level of service back to what it should be. That can happen. They don't need more trucks to get the level of service back. That's just a pure manpower,
Right.
power situation. This is about specifically electric powered.
Yeah, this is
trucks.
advancing the whole
Yeah.
fleet.
Okay.
So I think it's a pretty big, there's no way of us just getting it. This is about
Yes, this is a big lift.
massive purchasing and
This
technology.
is more a commentary, I think, than
Right.
than anything else. 30. So this is the firehouse EMS station.
Mm,
Yes.
And that's it. And then there's continuing services.
Good.
Do you want to go through continuing services real quick, or no, Jesse? Do you think we don't?
It's literally on a separate list. I mean,
Okay.
there's no end. We could put 100 things on continuing support, or we could put 5. Like,
Right.
Certainly if there's stuff that we think we need to update the language on, we can certainly do that.
The first one on this list says the request has been funded, so we should, if that's.
Yeah, that's why I was right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We know the ones that we can update, and if there are ones that need some language updates, I think we can.
Well, I mean, what's happening with Slaughterhouse?
The affordable housing application is just going through Maria and Joe's committee just this month. So ULIP was
We're close.
Yeah, we're there. I mean, we've got to work out some some minor issues with the application and distribution of units appropriately,
Really minor.
amendment and amenities and things like that. But I mean, in terms of the actual numbers, that's all set in stone. We're fine with that.
That's so good to see.
And to
Oh,
Jessica's point, the first one, when we asked for a family shelter, we got it. I mean, we have a new
At
family
the
shelter.
41st Street, or is that?
Yeah, the Homes for the Homeless is
Okay.
it's a woman's, I mean,
Got 2.
yeah. And then we have temporary ones, and we have also a temporary family shelter. Yeah.
We have 2 families. We have two
families, one on
families.
41st, one on
Yeah.
49.
Yes.
So guys, they gave us that request very quickly. We asked for more shelters. They put them right in.
Yeah. So we'll update that stuff.
So I guess if
I
we
just wanna-
can, I mean,
I was just gonna quickly flag I'm sure everybody has their projects they want to advocate for, and we'll do that at the next meeting, but we're gonna be requesting, Chelsea Land Use is gonna be requesting funding for the colored school for the repairs of the roof to be fixed, and obviously we'll be sending this group those submissions. But if you have not read the article in the New York Times that was there this weekend, I would encourage you to do so.
thanks, Jess.
All right. So everybody's gonna get their stuff to Leslie by the end of the week in terms of the statement of district needs.
What stuff?
Homework.
Can we go over this homework assignment for a moment?
Well, there was
So,
an
okay.
email then that really was very clear, even highlighted and made bold our names for what we're responsible for. So thank you, Jesse, for making it so organized.
So Alan, if you want to change the narrative a little bit of your section for our statement of district needs, obviously there's a lot of for education, at least. There's still some COVID stuff in there that might not be applicable anymore since school is in session 100%, stuff like that.
Right. Well, the narrative is there anything on these requests that we need to submit for changes at this point?
No,
Yeah,
we're
what's
going to
in the
go over
text?
that next time.
Next
We'll go
time.
over Yeah.
Okay,
this
so it's
is
really
more
about
the-
just the narratives prior to, just the narrative parts. Okay,
Correct.
oh, okay, all
Please.
right, super.
How do you want the wins? On what format? Do we want to put them in the spreadsheet or not?
In the, you mean for the
Yeah,
spreadsheet of the requests or the?
Yeah. I mean, it does, I mean, whatever, Leslie, however you want it, I think we'll produce a slide with the wins. So I think if you have wins that you have from each of your committees, please send them to Leslie. Even if they're partial wins, right? Like some of the
Yeah.
ACES stuff that was partially funded, that's a partial win. If there's some progress on some project that we feel we're going to keep on going, but it's still a substantial, thing that we got progress on, then we should list it,
Okay.
So I would just say, I don't know. I don't think it needs to be in a spreadsheet unless Leslie, you feel like it needs to be.
No, I think we also, when the preliminary budget comes out, we always put our wins in there too, official, like we document the wins there.
Yeah.
And
It's
we
in a-
send it to the
it's in a
city and the
narrative form
agencies.
when we do that, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we made it before 6:30, so
Right. Yeah,
So what is slaughterhouse? Are you considering that a win or is it not yet a win?
Yeah, I mean, it's
I think it's a win.
continued support, so already
well.
it's considered a win,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's already a CS, so,
Definitely a win, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think we might have, I don't want to keep on regurgitating the old wins, so I would have to go back. I can't remember, Jessica, if we listed it as a win last year. So if we did, then I think we'll have to, leave that
Right.
lay as it lay. We can just take it off our CS finally.
so if everyone can get to the edit by Friday, that would be helpful, because then I can work on it maybe Saturday, Monday, Tuesday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
You mean edit of the master document, right?
Hi.
Sorry.
The introduction to each of the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Great, guys.
Okay,
I guess we
super.
can officially adjourn.
I'm
Great
off to
job.
BLT.
All
Yep,
right.
Les said it's time for us to go.
We are done. I thought we were going to. I'm a mess today.
No,
Right.
BLP time. They need the Zoom.
Bye,
23
guys.
items on our
Thank you.
agenda tonight.
Good luck,
All right.
Bert.
Have fun, Bert.
Bye.
Have fun.
Bye.
Leslie, I'm gonna call you.
Okay, thanks, Maria.
Mhm.